Just do the inner work. That's all Jesus is saying. Do it. Because otherwise you're in the stinky, burning place.
Right. And don't just pretend to do it. Don't hang on to the letter of the law. Let yourself be transformed. Welcome to the second season of The Laughing Mystics, an unorthodox journey through the liturgical year with Laura Lewis-Barr and Marcy Mederi.
Hi, Marcy. It's so good to be with you.
It is so good to be with you, Laura. It seems like it's been a minute, and so this is always so fun to be together.
Yeah, our extraordinary time, because with Marcy, it's always extraordinary time, and this is the 6th week of extraordinary time.
Which is the last week before we get into Lent, which means Ash Wednesday is right around the corner. We will not be recording a special session for Ash Wednesday this year. However, you can always go back, and I'm sure Laura will link it in the show notes, but to last year's Ash Wednesday, if you need a little ashy boost.
Yeah, it was our official launch date. Was
Wow.
Ash Wednesday
That's
last
kinda
year.
special.
Yeah.
We should get some champagne or something. I don't think we can have in the sound booth, though.
Yeah, and Ash Wednesday and champagne? I don't know.
All right.
I'm confused.
Well, yes, it would have to be Mardi Gras the day before. All right, so here we are, 6th Sunday of Extraordinary Time.
Yeah, I got a question.
Okay.
It is, what is an inner stumbling block within me that stops me from choosing the good? And in our first reading, the good is water. And this idea of choice is going to figure out a lot in readings today.
Mm-hmm.
I'm riffing to give you a chance here, Mars, to think.
Good, because I need a little time.
Yeah.
Wow, what is the inner stumbling block?
That gets in the way of me choosing the good. And I'm also riffing for myself because, I need a moment to think too. And
I think I got it.
Go.
I think for me, it's the clock. It's time. It's the schedule, that says, nope, got to keep going, got to hurry, got to make the next mark, hit the next beat. And sometimes I find that invitation to do good is also an invitation to slow down. Or like doing good takes time. Maybe that's a better way to say it. Sometimes doing good takes time.
Yeah.
And so my inner stumbling block is my own personal taskmaster.
Yeah. I can relate. I'm guessing a lot of people can relate.
Mm-hmm.
And I think for me, impatience and also worry or just a mistrust that I'm going to get what I need, that's a stumbling block within me. So maybe I don't make the right choice because there's a part of me that's just afraid, and I think that's part of my wiring. And so prayer helps me to try to learn to trust more. And then if I trust more, then I'm more apt to make the right choice.
Again, I think a lot of people listening can totally relate to that. Like that little whisper that if I do this good, there won't be enough for me.
Ah, sure. Yes.
At least that's what I heard you say,
Yeah. And I wasn't necessarily thinking only of like doing a good deed, but of just making the life-giving choice, whatever it is.
Oh, life-giving choices. Okay.
Yeah.
I'm different on that. So we're talking about life-giving choices.
Yes.
Not necessarily life-giving or good actions.
Yes. And,
okay.
The one folds into the other, but wider than just doing a good deed.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Now I need to rethink my answer a little bit.
Okay.
Because I misunderstood.
Okay.
What gets in the way of me making life-giving choices
Yeah, for
I think,
yourself or the world.
right. Well, for myself, I think in part it's because I think I'm just wired this way to pay attention to other people's needs before my own.
Ugh.
And not everybody is wired that way, but I sure am. And so that can get in the way of doing good things for myself is I want to do good things for other people, or I feel compelled to do good things for other people. I don't want to sound like a saint here. It's more of a compulsion
Mm-hmm.
than anything, but I definitely think so. And then what happens too is that I can get bitter and resentful if I don't make those life-giving choices for myself.
Yeah.
How about for you? Say that again now. What gets in the way of you making life-giving choices for yourself?
Yeah. Well, for myself or for the world,
Or for the world,
I
yes.
think the stumbling block that's deep in my soul is a mistrust. I think a basic, when I'm in this place of real trusting of God and the world, the way things work, maybe not the world, but the way things work, the evolution, then I think I'm going to make the right choice. I'm going to be more patient. I'm going to be in the flow.
It is crazy, that word trust. And I think it comes up in the readings, how it makes such a difference, but how tricky it is. Trust is hard.
Well, hard, but why is it tricky? I don't
Well,
understand.
I don't know. It's like, can I trust? Do I trust? Like, my mind can play games. That's, I guess, what I mean by tricky. Like, I can overthink it, underthink it, just do all kinds of acrobats.
I'm glad you said that because I think this kind of trust isn't come from the mind. I think it's the heart. But you're right when you explain it. It is tricky to deal with the mind and the heart, and there are different ways of knowing, and they're different, the emphasis of the heart versus the mind.
Well, and how to take that elevator down from my head into my heart.
Yeah.
Like how do I do that? And that's we learn that through doing it. Oftentimes, centering practice is very helpful for that activity, to get into our heart, into our body, and let our mind just do what it does, but not get caught up in it.
Yeah, well, one more thing to add then, and I want to give a shout out again to Michael Mead and his amazing podcast, The Living Myth. And his latest episode was on practices for us to engage in to manage how we are in the world right now. And just the word practice is like this, what we do is a practice that is changing me. And so whether it's centering prayer or an artistic practice or reading poetry or doing Tai Chi or whatever it is, this idea that human beings, I think, we live in rhythms, and to be in a rhythm that is a practice that deepens us.
Yes.
Yeah.
And I like the word practice too, because it's not taking a test, right? There's no pressure for perfection, just a commitment to the practice.
Exactly. Mead says it should never be practice makes perfect. Practice makes practice is what he says. Yeah.
That's nice. Practice makes practice.
Our first reading is from Sirach. If you choose, you can keep the commandments, they will save you. If you trust in God, you too shall live. He has set before you fire and water. To whichever you choose, stretch forth your hand. Before man are life and death, good and evil. Whichever he chooses shall be given him. immense is the wisdom of the Lord. He is mighty in power and all-seeing. The eyes of God are on those who fear him. He understands man's every deed. No one does he command to act unjustly. To none does he give license to sin.
I love this reading.
Yeah, it's lovely.
It's just fantastic because I am a free will kind of gal. So, like if you choose to keep the commandments, they will save you. So, sometimes people say, "Oh, it's too hard. I can't do it." But I think there's also choice in there.
Yeah.
Like I have to take responsibility for my life. I have to take responsibility for my choices.
That word practice, it's like one choice a minute, one choice a breath, I'm constantly choosing.
Mm-hmm.
And if I make a bad choice, it sets me down a path toward it being harder to make the right or healthy, life-giving choice.
Mm-hmm.
I love the image of going down a path. And if I've gone down the wrong path, I have to backtrack a long way, maybe, to get to that place of choice, or I could say poise, the place of choice. But this, I think of mindfulness here, this idea of where does the choice begin? I agree with you, there's always a choice, but I think I can get myself into a spot where it feels like there isn't.
Right. And that's the precise moment that I have to ask myself, what are my choices? And maybe the choice is, as you said, to backtrack and to repair some things, to do things differently. That being said, there is that formation of conscience. And I think Sirach kind of gets at that at the end, that if we think of conscience as God's voice, that God does not ever say it's okay for us to do bad things. But when I hang around people who make bad choices, all of a sudden those choices don't seem that bad. And it's a malformation of my own conscience. It's like my internal compass gets skewed and I no longer know which way is north.
Yeah. I really like this phrase, the eyes of God are on those who fear him. It's like if I don't plug into God, God doesn't plug into me as much. Like it's not saying God is watching everyone closely. I find it fascinating. What do you think of that?
I'm not sure. I took it actually more as the eyes of God are on those who fear God. Was that more is expected of those who claim to love God?
Yeah, I think there's a similarity in what we're saying. It's similar to this idea of we have to have faith in order for things to happen. I have to be fearing God, and we talked about that word, like holding this awe, recognizing that God is bigger. And when I plug into that, then somehow this connection with God gets strengthened, and her eyes are on me too. My eyes are on her eyes are on me.
That's cool. That's a cool thing. And dogs and cats, one way that they tell you that they love you is by looking at you.
Yeah.
By gazing at you. And I suppose that's true with humans too, that we gaze at each other with love. And that idea of God lovingly gazing at us and us lovingly gazing at God is pretty sweet.
Right. And again, that word fear, we have to keep in mind what it means. And it's not like we're trembling.
No, but deep respect. Yes, for God's grandeur.
And I'm thinking also about what you said maybe last week, that the commandments are, they save us,
Yes.
that they're not a burden. They are a key.
Right. They're a pathway
Mm-hmm.
to a good life,
Yeah.
It's like directions on how to get somewhere.
The reading gives us the metaphor that we can choose fire, which is destruction, or water, which is life.
Mm-hmm.
Fire isn't always a bad thing, but in this reading, it's aligned with the bad choice.
What we put our hand over, right? It's whatever you choose, stretch forth your hand. So
Right.
am I putting my hand in fire or am I putting it in water? And like putting my hand in fire hurts. I'm damaging myself.
Right. Right.
When I make bad choices.
I think these harsh images that we are having coming up because the mind wants to rationalize.
Right. So these are more like awareness, warnings ahead of time, encouragement ahead of time.
Yeah, you're right. This isn't a wagging finger. This is a guide.
A reading from the letter of St. Paul to the Corinthians. Sisters and brothers, we speak a wisdom to those who are mature, not a wisdom of this age, nor of the rulers of this age who are passing away. Rather, we speak God's wisdom, mysterious, hidden, which God predetermined before the ages of our glory, and which none of the rulers of this age knew, or if they had known it, they would not have crucified the Lord of glory. But as it is written, what eye has not seen and ear has not heard, and what has not entered the human heart, what God has prepared for those who love God. This God has revealed to us through the Spirit. For the Spirit scrutinizes everything, even the depths of God. I've got the song in my head too. Eye has not seen, ear has not heard. You know that one.
Yeah.
What God has ready for those who love God. And so I think there are words put into that song that are missing from the scripture. So it sounds weird to my ears.
But your singing that actually really helped me get it. So, that we cannot even comprehend God, basically.
Right.
And what being in God or being in the kingdom is.
Well, and the song goes on, right? Spirit of God, teach us the wisdom, which again is right here in the scripture, that it is the Spirit who teaches us and helps us, may not understand in our head, but maybe it understand in our hearts.
Right. And that word mystery is just, I want to cling to that because I think for myself, paradox, contradiction have to be part of my understanding of what is beyond me. If it's so simple that I can talk about it without a problem, that's a problem, I think.
I think so too. I do. I love that mystery. I love hidden, that not like hide and go seek, but in a sacred holy place, hidden in a sacred holy place.
Yeah. It makes me want to talk about mystery stories and films. And I've never been really a genre person in terms of books, but there's a movie out that I want to recommend, and it's called Knives Out. It's a part of the Knives Out series.
Okay.
And this last one is called Wake Up Dead Man. And it's a total mystery. It really leans into that, Detective Benoit is going to solve this mystery. And I think for those of you who love to read or watch mysteries, as an archetype, it reflects the truth of our lives because we live in a mystery constantly. This film, what I love about it and why I'm mentioning it is because it takes place in a church and it has to do with faith. And it has to do with struggles between how we interpret faith, how we live faith. And it has a wonderful priest character who reminds me very much of your husband, Ed. I see Ed in him constantly. And if you like a mystery, and there's comedy in it too, I would recommend it. And just to repeat, why I said this is because the mystery genre is true to our lives. We're constantly, like your love of puzzles is another metaphor for we're constantly trying to solve the mystery that we'll never solve.
Right. Well, and I think that's why puzzles are so satisfying for me is because I can put the pieces together. Right? I can solve it.
That's true.
In a way that I cannot solve a lot of bigger issues or understand, the depths of mystery that is God. So,
well, thank you. You're right. And I think a good mystery story or film it gets solved.
Yes.
And so there is this great satisfaction. And we do solve mysteries in our lives, I think, but maybe not the biggest mysteries, maybe, but at least grappling with them.
So I got stuck on that word scrutinize, which is in the last line. For the Spirit scrutinizes everything, even the depths of God. What's that about? I was looking at all the commentaries, did not find anything terribly satisfying.
I would love to know what the Greek word would be for this. I mean, the way I see it is the Spirit envelops everything, is enveloped by everything. It permeates everything, and even the depths of God. The Spirit is a part of God, so that's crazy. But
yes,
scrutinize meaning fully. I mean, we take the word to mean examine, but fully. It reminds me of the first reading, like all-seeing, understanding.
Oh, okay. So deeply understanding. The Spirit deeply understands everything, even the depths of God.
Yeah.
And maybe that Spirit is something I can access. Like my spirit connects to, the Spirit that's a part of the Trinity.
Yes.
Okay. So this is the way in, right? Into the heart of God. So the Spirit of God, the Spirit within me, has the potentiality of deeply understanding everything, even the depths of God.
Right. Well, and that's a mystical experience. And
yes.
We've talked about those. We've had those. And what a blessing it is to be in that place that is beyond the mind, that is, for me, the heart. Yeah.
Okay, the other word that I got stuck on is predetermined. Rather, we speak God's wisdom, mysterious and hidden, which God predetermined before the ages of our glory.
So God's wisdom is mysterious and hidden and predetermined. And that reminds me of the Spirit, Sophia. It does feel like a very mystical reading that we said last time that Paul doesn't lean into his knowledge of the law, all his learning, you said like rabbinical learning.
Yes.
Instead, he leans into there is a mystery that is beyond time and space that we are hooked into now.
And I think that's an important distinction, because sometimes I think people read that word predetermined or predetermination and say, well, if it's all predetermined, how do I have choice? As opposed to the way you just said it, that God's wisdom is outside the understanding of time. God's wisdom is bigger than time, and therefore predetermined that way.
Right.
So I think that's another really good distinction.
Right. The former is mystery, and the latter is just humans controlling the narrative, feels to me.
Well, and in some ways, it takes away personal responsibility. If I believe that my life is completely predetermined, then why try? Why do the hard thing? Okay, thank you. Look at you, little biblical scholar over there.
A reading from the Gospel of Matthew. Jesus said to his disciples, "Do not think that I have come to abolish the law or the prophets. I have come not to abolish, but to fulfill. Amen, I say to you, until heaven and earth pass away, not the smallest letter or the smallest part of a letter will pass from the law until all things have taken place. Therefore, whoever breaks one of the least of these commandments and teaches others to do so will be called least in the kingdom of heaven. But whoever obeys and teaches these commandments will be called greatest in the kingdom of heaven. I tell you, unless your righteousness surpasses that of the scribes and Pharisees, you will not enter the kingdom of heaven.
You have heard that it was said to your ancestors, 'You shall not kill, and whoever kills will be liable to judgment.' But I say to you, whoever is angry with his brother or sister will be liable to judgment. Whoever says to his sibling, 'Raka,' will be answerable to the Sanhedrin. Whoever says, 'You fool,' will be liable to fiery Gehenna. Therefore, if you bring your gift to the altar and there recall that your brother or sister has anything against you, leave your gift at the altar and go first and be reconciled with your sibling. Then come and offer your gift. Settle with your opponent quickly on the way to court. Otherwise, your opponent will hand you over to the judge, and the judge will hand you over to the guard, and you will be thrown into prison. Amen. I say to you, you will not be released until you have paid the last penny."
You have heard that it was said, "You shall not commit adultery." But I say to you, everyone who looks at a woman with lust has already committed adultery with her in his heart. If your right eye causes you to sin, tear it out and throw it away. It is better for you to lose one of your members than to have your whole body thrown into Gehenna. And if your right hand causes you to sin, cut it off and throw it away. It is better for you to lose one of your members than to have your whole body go into Gehenna.
It was also said, "Whoever divorces his wife must give her a bill of divorce." But I say to you, whoever divorces his wife, unless the marriage is unlawful, causes her to commit adultery. And whoever marries a divorced wife commits adultery.
Again, you have heard that it was said to your ancestors, "Do not take a false oath, but make good to the Lord all that you vow." But I say to you, do not swear at all, not by heaven, for it is God's throne, nor by the earth, for it is his footstool, nor by Jerusalem, for it is the city of the great King. Do not swear by your head, for you cannot make a single hair white or black. Let your yes mean yes, and your no mean no. Anything more is from the evil one. Oh my gosh.
Jesus is a bit of a rant here.
So I want to start by saying that this gospel is a great example of metaphor. Because
yes,
I am not sticking my hand in my eyeball and pulling it out. And
no, nor do I think that's really what Jesus meant.
exactly. And so we can lean into metaphor, like we're being asked to lean into metaphor here, and we can lean into metaphor in general, not just when we don't want to do what it says. Like, it's all a metaphor. It's just easier to know that this one's a metaphor. Does that make sense?
Yes, yes, because taking this scripture literally would get us into a lot of trouble.
Taking any scripture literally gets us into trouble. That's what Joseph Campbell would say. It's like we mistake the metaphor when we take things literally, and we lose the water of life. We lose the life-giving thing. And we can do it easier on this one because I don't want to take this one seriously, or it's always serious. I don't want to take this one literally.
And I don't want other people to take it literally either.
Exactly.
I don't want anybody to cut off their hand.
Exactly. So we'll think about this when we get to other ones that we do take literally, right? Because I think, well, that's the struggle we have with the Bible. I think the struggle is I sense that people think if I don't take it literally, I don't take it seriously, and that is so not true.
I hear you. I hear you.
Yeah.
Yes, to take things seriously and take them to heart.
Right.
So how would you say what is Jesus's thesis here?
So I was thinking about the metaphor and thinking, if the way I see things is fundamentally off, and we're back to this idea of choice and paths, and if my vision is fundamentally flawed and I want to do the bad thing, I better work on that. Get to the heart of it. Get to the source of it. Where does this vision in me begin? And the metaphor is pull it out. I'm not going to do it literally, but let's talk about that. How do I pull out something fundamental in me that is causing me to be wrong, bad, evil, do the wrong thing, do the harmful thing to myself or others? I mean, in the modern world, psychotherapy is one way, honestly. And I think before the modern world, confession was a form of psychotherapy where you went in and you went to the depths, hopefully, to examine that inner vision.
I think for me, it's also back to those small choices. One way I can weed out that root is to make a change in my small choices, as well as examine, why am I being tempted at all in the first place? What's going on in me? What is my unmet need?
Yeah, that's a good question.
That propels me into this bad decision.
And to sacrifice something of value to myself, to sacrifice the most valuable thing if it's going to get me toward health, salvation, whatever you want to call it. To be willing, last week we talked about fairy tales, and fairy tales are stark. The girl without hands, he cuts off her hands. And it's a way to get our attention, just like our dreams. Like, where the heck did that horrible image come from? I think Jesus is not being subtle here, because he's saying, if your soul is at stake, you better do whatever it takes. And he gives us these images that are so radical that I want to push them away as ridiculous. Like, really, you don't really mean that, Jesus. But on a metaphoric level, he means it.
Yes. I think of people who have done 12-step work and have given up what at one point in their lives they may have thought was the most important thing. like an alcoholic, that next drink was the most important thing. And yet giving it up, rooting it out, is the only way to salvation. That is the only way to health and wholeness. So whatever that is, and I do appreciate Jesus's examples, like anger, and not talking about just the emotion, anger, like any emotion, they're all good. But what do I do with my anger? Do I hold on to it? Do I harbor it? Do I let it eat me up from the inside out? That's a problem. Looking at people and objectifying them as sexually, that's a problem. What's going on? And even like that whole divorce thing, it's more about, at this time, men just being done with their spouse, discarding them like trash, like garbage, like, oh, now I'm done with you, now I'll divorce you. So that's, I think, like you said, that metaphor, that's so serious and so essential. What is it in me that gets in the way of how I treat other people and how I treat myself?
Yeah, I think a lot of these examples are about what is underneath the commandment, right? What is the
Yes.
intention? What is the root?
Right.
So,
what's the spirit of the law, not just the letter of the law?
Exactly. I've never really understood this thing about oath taking, except maybe that the person who's taking an oath is protesting too much, and that they should, Jesus says, just be honest. You don't have to be making all these proclamations.
Right. Like the big guarantee that this is the best, whatever. Just be the best, or just do what you say you're going to do.
Yeah. I really love the example of whoever says to his brother or sibling, raka, which is a word that I believe means you're a fool. And so a cutting remark, a cruel remark, just saying a cruel remark is the beginning. Like, we're not going to overlook even that. We're going to get to the source.
Well, and how hurtful that is. And don't blow it off. Oh, I was just teasing. I was just joking. I know people who are really unkind. And then when the other person's hurt, they say, oh, I was just teasing. Just, that's your fault.
Right.
And I think, right, that's what Jesus is saying, that even these small things have a big impact, and they're a big deal.
Right. And they have an impact on the other, and they have an impact on me.
Yes.
And that they throw me into hell.
Yes.
That's what hell is. Hell is being trapped by my anger, being trapped by my falsehood. That's what hell is.
So Gehenna was a real valley south of Jerusalem, infamous for child sacrifice.
Oh, wow.
And later became a city dump where fires burned refuse and dead bodies, symbolizing eternal punishment.
Wow.
So people knew and understood what Gehenna was.
A metaphor.
Right.
For hell, yeah.
For hell. I mean, like, it's this horrible, stinky place where things burn. And it sounds like it was also a taboo place, too, where bad things have happened.
And fire is also a purifier.
Mm-hmm.
And so, like, if I am filled with anger that I don't deal with, I am going to be purified eventually somehow by, you could say it in the afterlife, it's happening, or it's happening here, but there isn't escaping. You can't just step aside and go, never mind, it's forget it, forget what I said, what I did, because we know that the Spirit scrutinizes everything, God sees everything, the inner higher power sees everything. There's no escaping the truth of who we are.
Which is, as you said about this reading, a serious reading. I mean, this is a serious interpretation of this reading.
Yeah. The last thing I want to say is this idea of the opponent. Settle with your opponent quickly while on the way to court. I mean, we can say this is just great advice in general in the world, but the opponent may be my inner shadow that I need to work with. I need to be engaged with the shadow. Otherwise, there's an inner prison that develops when I'm not engaged with that part of myself.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I feel that spirit of self-righteousness when I'm so, and this actually is completely true. Whenever I, Marcy, am completely sure I'm right, I am absolutely every time wrong. Absolutely every time wrong.
Wow.
So like for me, I hear that saying, when you feel like you're so right and you're going to go to court over this, check yourself because you're going to lose. And so even though that's also with another person, I have to do my inner work. Why am I so sure of myself? How did I get hooked to need to be right?
Yeah, what you're describing is, in a Jungian sense, talking about pulling back the projection that I throw on another person that really belongs to me.
Wow, just even listening to you say that, I don't like it.
Sure.
Like, oh, uncomfortable. What a great reading.
Yes, we could talk forever on this one reading. It's just got so much.
I have come not to abolish the law and the prophets, but to fulfill them, to help us understand them in a deeper way. They may change our lives.
This idea of reconciling with all parts of myself, I think I want to mention something called the golden shadow, which is this idea that there are parts of myself that I don't claim that are beautiful, that I feel like I couldn't be that. In fact, when we fall in love or when we idolize somebody for their talents, that is generally an image of something in myself that I cannot claim.
I have never heard that. The golden shadow. I really like that, though.
Oh,
Yeah. Who is it? Marianne Williamson, who says we're not afraid of our darkness, we're afraid of our light.
if you can't reconcile the parts of yourself, that could also be part of what we're talking about here too. Go and be reconciled with your brother. What if I can't be reconciled in a literal way with my sibling?
Mm-hmm.
God sees all things, and I trust that if I am doing the right thing, it's okay. Like, again, I'm not going to take that literally. I'm going to take it in the spirit of the reading. Does that make sense?
Yes, totally.
Yeah.
Totally, because sometimes it's not safe to be reconciled with a sibling.
Right.
Or yeah, I mean, with anyone.
Right.
But how do I find peace within myself?
Right. How do I reconcile that?
Yes.
Just do the inner work. That's all Jesus is saying. Do it. Because otherwise you're in the stinky, burning place.
Right. And don't just pretend to do it. Don't hang on to the letter of the law. Let yourself be transformed. That's what Jesus is really asking, is inner transformation, which is the hardest, but that is exactly what Jesus is asking of us.
Right. And it's worth an eyeball. It's worth an arm, a hand.
It's worth sacrifice.
Mm-hmm.
It's worth hard work.
Well, I'm exhausted.
Yeah.
I hope you guys are still with us. And I really thank you for being with us. And here's my request. If you haven't subscribed yet, please do it. And if you haven't written a review, please do it. And mostly, please share this podcast with someone who might like it, because we'd love to grow as we keep doing this new season.
Be well, and until next time.